Welcome to One More Glass, the weekly wine show that's going to demystify the world of wine. Isn't that right, Jack?
That's right, Tom.
We practiced that.
Not very well.
We didn't practice that last bit.
No. Today we're actually reviewing a wine.
Yeah, we're reviewing a wine. This is going to be, I think this is not part of the weekly show, but this is going to be part of our overall content that we're providing.
Yeah, and it lets us have a free drink as well. So.
Absolutely. And we're going to taste some fantastic wines with an interesting story, wines that are high scored, wines that people will aspire to taste. And we will do the tasting for them first and foremost.
I think that's a good segue into this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aspirational products. Why is this aspirational?
So what we got today is a wine called Vérité, and it's their cuvée called Le Désir. Now, which country and region is this from, Jack?
Well, it sounds French, doesn't it?
But Vérité Le Désir, it's a French name.
Yeah.
It's a French word.
French name, French winemaker.
Pierre Salon.
But it happens to be from California.
This is a Californian wine, and a very good one, a very highly rated one.
Very highly rated. In fact, how highly rated is this wine?
This particular wine received 100 points from the Wine Advocate. So that is, for those viewers that have heard of the name, Robert Parker Jr., that's his publication. This wasn't actually given by the great man himself. This was actually provided by Lisa Perotti-Brown.
I think he's mainly off the source these days, isn't he?
Yeah, he's cut down for sure.
Old Bob.
Yeah, he was tasting about 10,000 wines a year.
Yeah.
So obviously he had to
gout.
knock that on the head. But Lisa Perotti-Brown, one of the leading wine critics globally and one of the leading names, part of the Wine Advocate, 100 points for this particular wine. But this is a wine that consistently scores well anyway.
So well. Yeah, we actually were lucky enough to taste through a lot of the 2015s and 2008s the other week, and with 6 wines in front of us, we had 595 points worth of wine.
Incredible.
Yeah, mad.
Incredible. So the concept behind this wine, Vérité, as a producer, is actually owned by Jackson Family Vineyards, which is probably a name that a lot more people will be aware of.
A family winemaking dynasty, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's globally really renowned.
But in the US, it's extremely well known.
Huge in the US, and actually I think, correct me if I'm wrong, they moved to the United States with a view of making the best wines in Bordeaux in California. That's what they challenged themselves with.
People that are familiar with Jackson might not necessarily think of top-end, super expensive, fine wine. No. So this is maybe their jewel in the crown, would you say?
Definitely, yeah, without a doubt. I think it's really interesting. So many New World wineries go, right, we make Lafite in California for 10 quid a bottle.
Yeah.
Like, sure you do.
Yeah, it's impossible, you can't do
whatever. These guys moved out there to try and mimic, this one in particular, Cheval Blanc.
Yeah.
Which is, what, 300, 400 quid a bottle on release? What's this?
This is 350.
Yeah, so they're not messing around, are they?
No. I mean, this is no money spared at all. This is all the best winemaking facilities and everything they can throw at this, they've put into it to make it as good as it can possibly be. But interestingly, this is part of a trilogy. So they've got 3 different varieties, 3 different single cuvee vineyards. Le Désir, which obviously we're tasting today, as you said, it's the replication of Cheval Blanc, higher proportion of Cabernet Franc. We've then got Le Joie and Le Muse, which are supposed to replicate a Merlot-dominated blend and a Cabernet Sauvignon-dominated blend. So they're supposed to represent the 3 archetypal wines that you'll find in Bordeaux. So let's talk about this one first and foremost.
Whenever I see a wine that says to me, we're the New World version of a Bordeaux, we're the New World version of something like that, I just think they're trying too hard.
Yeah.
And you immediately are suspicious. You jump to certain conclusions, but here
you think
it's a big but, like
you think it is
a mix-a-lot kind of big but.
I mean, you haven't. Okay, that's a good musical reference.
And they've done it, haven't they? This is incredible.
Well, we haven't tasted it yet.
I've smelt it.
Okay. So what we get on the nose, for me, it's extremely expressive. It's just bursting with fruit flavours. But for me, and I don't know whether you agree, there's a medicinal, herbal element to it as well. And would you say that's something that's a characteristic of the Cabernet Franc, which obviously you do have a...
I think so, and just the perfume as well. It's like someone has got all the fruits in the forest, stamped on them, poured a load of Ribena on the top, and maybe dropped an opal fruit or 2 in there, like a blackcurrant flavoured opal fruit. Which really does a £350 bottle of wine justice, saying that it smells like opal fruits, but there we go. That's bloody good, isn't it? Stunned to silence.
It's an exceptional wine.
Pretty rare that something makes you shut up, so that must be quite good.
You'll be serving more of this to me then in the future.
Cool, yeah, whenever I want you to pipe down, get the Vérité out, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, it's an expensive way to keep it
probably
quiet.
Worth it, yeah.
Beautiful, silky.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that really stunned me. But it's got all the elements in there. Alcohol levels probably around 14.5%. So it's got alcohol there, it's got the acidity. Purity of the fruit is exceptional, really pure, very long wine. But as you said, the thing I would probably say, tasting that, the one thing I would take away from that is the silky smoothness of it, and that freshness on the end. It's amazing. It's a beautifully well-knit wine.
Do you not think as well, for such a young wine, you could drink a pint of it, couldn't you? It doesn't slow you down at all. There's nothing thinking like, oh, that's too harsh, or...
Well, that's the thing, you know, if you think about...
so easy. She's sort of, I don't know, she's flashing a few nice bits, but not showing you everything.
Yeah, I mean, most people, when you say sort of Californian Cabernet, they have a certain opinion, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be super high alcohol concentrated, it's going to smash you around the face, it's something you need with a big steak or red meat. But as you said, this is something we're enjoying now. I mean, it's extremely young, and this is really going to take, as a wine that's going to age for a long time. But
yeah, and it's only just been released, hasn't it? If you don't mind just giving us 5 minutes, we're just going to stand here and enjoy this, maybe cut 2, should we zoom through, we'll just finish this off. Should we get steak? Do you want a steak?
Get a steak.
Yeah. Get on the delivery, get a steak done.
I mean, if you're gonna criticise the wine, what would you say? Is there any criticisms we had here? I mean, obviously, Elise possibly only has 100 points. Is it a 100-point wine for you?
I think it's amazing, and it's relatively incomparable. I like a bit of imperfection in wine. That's maybe what I'd criticise it for.
Maybe it's too polished, too perfect.
Yeah, it's too perfect. It's too well made. It's almost, if you think about German engineering, you know, it's incredibly precise. Maybe it lacks a bit of soul for the sake of being so well made.
I think it's the type of wine that, you know, if you like your Bordeaux blends, you like the Bordeaux style wine, as you said. I mean, what you said right at the beginning was, you know, you judge it by what it's trying to be. It's trying to be that Bordeaux style in California, which obviously straight away a lot of people would be
pretty turned off by it.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
but it does it.
It really does combine those two factors together. So, exceptionally good wine. I think obviously it's very young right now. It'll be interesting to see how it tastes in a few more years. But talking about the tannins as well, I mean, they're pretty well integrated there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel them, but they're smooth, they're silky tannins, they're really rounded. And given its age, it really is a stunning example of this particular wine. So they've done a fantastic job. So summarising this wine, Jack, it's Californian, predominantly Cabernet Franc, Vérité, 100-point wine, £350 a bottle, so not exactly a cheap bottle of wine. How do you summarise the wine in delivering on what it's trying to promise to do?
I think it delivers stats. I think what you just said is a very eloquent summation of what it is, because you've just reeled off a load of facts, and this wine feels factual to me. It does exactly what it should do in a 100-point way very well, but it just doesn't quite give me the emotion that I want to feel.
So maybe lacking that little bit of ingenuity.
A little bit of soul, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, maybe lacking a little bit of je ne sais quoi, as they say.
Yeah, maybe. And on that very deep note,
thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.
Make sure you comment below and let us know your feedback. And of course, the most important thing you've got to do is you've got to follow. And what else have you got to do?
I think subscribe, or maybe even leave a comment.
We did the comments, so just subscribe.
Okay. Just subscribe, yeah.
He never listens to me, that's the problem.
Drinking.
Comment, follow, subscribe. Thank you very much.